Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to the Education USA Thursday information session at the American Center in Chennai. My name is Aparna Chandrasekharan and I'm the Education USA advisor at the Chennai Center. We're very pleased this afternoon to invite Mr. Matt Greenberg, who's the Assistant Director for the Visiting International Student Program at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, to speak about short-term study programs in the US in general and to also share insights about specific programs at his university. So all those audiences who are watching us online from other cities and from Chennai and our region, I request you to post your questions in the comment section, or you can send it to us on the WhatsApp number that is being flashed as a ticker in the video that you're going to see now. Do share your questions with us, and once Matt finishes his presentation, we'll be happy to take those questions for Matt to answer. A warm welcome to the audiences in-house as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Over to you, Matt. Please come.
Great. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Matt Greenberg. I'm from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I'll tell you a little bit more about where that is exactly and a little bit more about the university with the second half of the presentation. I will start by talking a little bit about short-term programs in the United States in general, and then I'll talk a little bit about the program that I'm representing specifically. So, my background is education, business, and public administration. I was fortunate enough to participate in a short-term program as well. I, in fact, spent a semester in Tel Aviv, Israel, had a fantastic time, and have been traveling the world as much as I can ever since. And not only traveling myself, but also trying to promote and help other people do the same thing, because that's how much I love it and have benefited from those experiences. So, a few things that we'll cover in the presentation will be, one, what are some benefits, some reasons that you might consider studying abroad? How long of a term might you want to study for? Academic considerations, things to keep in mind academically, living arrangements, and then, of course, what are some advantages of short-term study, followed by University of Wisconsin, as I said. So I have a few slides here. I'm just going to treat them a little bit like bullet points to go through them in terms of benefits of studying abroad. I'm going to guess that many of you have already given thought to this, and some of these are reasons why you already think you want to study abroad, but maybe I'll add a couple points to that as well, to what your thinking has been. So clearly, it's an opportunity to work on English skills, writing, speaking, and listening skills. And something I can relate to is there's an opportunity to change your understanding. And I wouldn't necessarily say change, but maybe grow your understanding of the world. And of course, how might that happen? But by learning about different places, interacting with different people, different cultures, who do things in different ways, not necessarily better or worse, but just different. Experience a new way of living. And even within the United States, it's a large country, similar to India. Depending on where you are in the country, you can find many different cultures. And the United States is known to have a wide range of people from different ethnicities, racial backgrounds, which creates a very diverse environment. A benefit, you get to step outside your comfort zone. It can be scary at times, but I think if you have the courage, you will find that you will benefit from making yourself sometimes maybe a little uncomfortable doing something new. And then there's some academic benefits. Perhaps you are an undergraduate student considering a master's program and you would like to strengthen your master's application. This also provides an opportunity to study at a very highly ranked and or at a university that is thought highly of. So, for example, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later, where Maybe you don't have the opportunity to go as a degree student for a number of different reasons, but a short-term study program might be possible at one of these highly ranked universities. Depending on the program you would participate in, there might be some research opportunities. Through research opportunities and or just through interacting with faculty and staff on a campus might provide you an opportunity to request a letter of recommendation. As well, depending on the group of students you're with, the faculty and professors you might be working with, you get to network with some people in your area, add credentials for grad school. And of course, hopefully all this comes together academically and socially to help you with some career opportunities. So now let me talk a little bit about the length of time that you can perhaps study for a short-term program. Many universities will go by a standard fall and spring semester. Summer is often seen as an add-on or optional for students back home in the United States. Or if you're, I would say, lucky enough, perhaps you can commit to a whole year experience studying abroad. What I'll say is fall and spring, typically because they're longer, about 4 months long, I would say fall usually goes September through December, and then the spring or second semester will run from January through middle of May. Because they're a little bit longer, they will cost a little bit more money for tuition as well as for living costs. So if finances is something that is important in terms of you have limited finances, summer might be something you really want to look towards. But there are pros and cons, as there are with many things. So although fall and spring, or being able to spend a full year at a university might be ideal, but costs more, you fully get to engage in the campus. You get to make longer lasting and stronger relationships and friendships. And you also will probably have more opportunities to do research with some faculty members if you spend a full semester or a full year. Now with summer, although the cost would be significantly less, you don't necessarily get the opportunity to fully engage in the university setting because you're there for a shorter period of time. You don't get to know professors or faculty quite as well. And oftentimes, at least at my university, you only need to take maybe as little as one class. So you might think, do I want to go to the United States just to take one class or two classes? Or do you want to go for a more in-depth experience of a full 4 classes or 5 classes? So again, there's pros and cons with how long you decide to go for. So some academic considerations. We always would recommend that students work very closely with their international office or their academic department on campus. There are some very important considerations that you'll want to keep in mind. Another thing is you'll want to think about, are you taking the same classes as the students at that home university? Or perhaps is the program going to be just designated for international students? And which do you prefer? Do you care? Transcripts, something that you might want to, that might be a priority to you. Are you receiving a transcript? And if so, is it the same transcript that the home university students are receiving? Is it an official university transcript? Or is it maybe a side program at the university and different? Something to think about, when is it that you can enroll in classes? With some programs, you are able to enroll months in advance of ever attending that campus. Other programs, you might not be able to enroll until you arrive. And are you comfortable with not knowing your classes or if you'll get the classes you want until you show up? Or are you going to want to know, yes, I'm going to get those classes well in advance? what classes can you take? Do you have options, flexibilities? Does the university that you would be attending in the United States provide or limit the course options available to you? And then, of course, does your home university have some policies about what courses you can or cannot take? For example, the program that I represent, the students that come can take just about any class that our university offers. But at the same time, some of our students might be limited and say, well, I appreciate the opportunity to take any range of courses, but my home university says I have to take courses that are in my department. So give that some thought in terms of what opportunity do you have, as well as what does your home university expect. And again, as I mentioned a little bit before, is what if you don't get into the classes that you want? What options do you have either once you're at the home university or beforehand? Are there some advisors available that can assist you to get into them? And if not, is that going to be kind of a cutoff for you and say, you know what, I absolutely have to have these classes to graduate, I have no flexibility, and this program isn't going to work, I think I should look for something else. And if you do have flexibility, then that's great. So let me talk a little bit about living. First is there an opportunity to live on campus? I often suggest, especially for undergraduate students, living on campus can provide some wonderful positive opportunities and experiences. One is convenience. It's right on campus. You don't have to worry quite as much about commuting to courses. There's a community already provided. You're living in the residence hall with other students. So it's a great opportunity to make friends and get engaged on campus. And I would also say safety. Usually campuses take great pride in providing a safe environment for their students. If you're living off campus, you might not have someone providing all of that for you the same way. And then if there is campus housing, do you have the choice? Perhaps you're a graduate student. You're not interested in living with undergraduate students. There may or may not be housing on campus specifically for graduate students. That might be something to think about. But if you have a preference, you will want to know if you have a choice about where you can live. If you want to live on campus, well, what is included with living on campus? Is food included? And is that important to you? If you live on campus, is there a kitchen in case you would like to do some of your own cooking? And if you're looking at finances, maybe you are interested in living in a large city, but then the trade-off is typically large cities will cost a little bit more for living expenses. So just something to think about. Okay, so a couple other things to think about when looking into a short-term program, and that is maybe, and I'll direct this a little bit towards undergraduate students or maybe a master's level student that wants to spend a semester at a university in the US. So perhaps you don't have the financial means to spend 2 years or 4 years at a university in the US, or perhaps your grades aren't quite at the same level to spend at a prestigious university in the US. Well, with short-term programming, oftentimes those admission requirements can be lower. So that's one thing to, just because you think, oh, that's a prestigious university, it's known around the world, if you're looking at a short-term program, don't think that you are automatically not going to be eligible for it if you're looking at short-term programming. The program I work with, we accept a much lower GPA than students that are applying as a degree-seeking student. So again, just another example where it's a little bit more flexible with short-term programming and our requirements. English scores are oftentimes going to be a little bit lower with short-term programs. And some universities, mine is one, it varies much between every place, but for us, there's no application fee. So there's absolutely no downside to applying, and if you change your mind, you're not out any money. And depending on the short-term program you're looking at and the university, there might be some increased availability for financial aid, scholarships. And if you come over a summer term, when it comes to housing, if you look to live off campus, many of the degree-seeking students who have signed a contract or a lease for the full year, if they're not spending the summer at campus, they will go home. They look to do something called subleasing, where if you go for a summer, they might offer their apartment or their housing at a much reduced rate, which would be an opportunity to save some money. And some campuses also will provide scholarships for summer housing. Again, it can vary greatly from place to place. So I talked a little bit about general things to keep in mind, to give consideration to with short-term programming. I'd like to take a moment, transition to the University of Wisconsin-Madison to tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from. So this is a video which we're not going to show now, but we'll show at the end. Okay, so you might be thinking, wait, what is Wisconsin? Where is Wisconsin? Tell me about Wisconsin, this place you call Wisconsin. So here it is. Wisconsin is in the region of the Midwest or the upper Midwest in the United States. Clearly not on one of the very popular coasts, East Coast or West Coast. In Wisconsin, and starred here is Madison, which is the capital of the state. We have something that we call Midwest nice, and something that I think distinguishes the region from some others, and we have this reputation, is where Midwest nice means if you go to purchase groceries, oftentimes when you get to the checkout line, the person working there might say, "Hello, how are you? How's your day going?" For some people, they're like, "What? Why are you asking me? Why do you care?" Well, this is a part of Midwest nice, that friendliness. I also hear stories about students who maybe they left their cell phone behind at the library or some books, and they go home and they realize, "I forgot my cell phone. Oh shoot, it's probably gone." Well, they've gone back to the library or maybe the cafe. They asked at the front desk, "Have you found a cell phone?" And they'll say, "Oh yes, another student turned it in. Here it is." So these are stories that I've heard from many of our students every semester. I'll give you one more example of what I mean by Midwest nice. It's common that when you get onto a bus, people will say hello to the bus driver, and then when they get off the bus, even though they're in the back of the bus and the driver's in the front, you'll hear people saying, "Thank you, have a good day," and yelling it to the bus driver up in front. So a little bit more about Wisconsin. You'll see here our proximity to Chicago. Many of our students will fly into Chicago and take a bus to Madison, but Madison does have an airport. You might be wondering, well, how big is Wisconsin, or Madison? What is the size? We have about 330,000 people. So if you're looking for a really big city, this maybe isn't the best fit. But if you want something that's a nice balance between the two, okay, give it some thought. We're also known as being in the Great Lakes region. As you see here, we have some of our Great Lakes. And Madison itself has two major lakes that the campus sits between, and I hope to show you in a picture coming up. So let me tell you a little bit more about the state, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about the city. The state of Wisconsin has close to 6 million people. We're known as the dairy state. We have lots of cows there, and we like to produce a lot of milk. We produce great ice cream. In fact, our school has its own ice cream factory on it, and it's one of the most popular things to have while you visit. And of course, cheese. We're known as the cheese state. I'm happy to say that we have 4 distinct seasons. We do have a full fall, a full winter, spring, and summer. So depending on when you come and for how long, you can experience more than one of these seasons, which I think is a really nice thing. Outdoor recreation. Regardless of what time of year you come, people are out, they're being active, they're exercising, they're running, biking all year long. If it's winter, you'll find people downhill skiing, skating, walking on the ice because the lakes freeze over, and enjoying the snow, which there's plenty of right now. And I'm happy to be here away from it for a little bit. And when it comes to spring and summer, everyone is happy that it's warm out and everyone just floods outside and you just see the energy in the city. So as I said, 250,000 in the city proper, but it's closer to about 330,000 if you include the suburbs kind of attached to the city. And now Madison. One thing to know is for a city of our size, we're consistently ranked as one of the safest in the country. And we're known to have a high quality life, partially because of our university, partially because of how active we are, like I mentioned a moment ago, with being outdoors, and also because Madison, as I said, is the state capital, and so we're very politically active and aware. So I've talked to you a little bit so far about the state of Wisconsin. I've shared with you information about the city of Madison. Let me tell you about the university more in detail. We're founded in 1848, the same year as the state of Wisconsin. Our population, or I should say enrollment, has about 44,000. There's the breakdown between undergraduate students and graduate students. The students that come through our program, which is called the Visiting International Student Program, or VISP, VISP, we are considered to be special students. All that means is that you are, while in our program, a non-degree student. So you're either a degree student, you're at Wisconsin to get a degree and graduate from Wisconsin, or you're here or you're at Wisconsin as a non-degree student, or we use the term special student. And when you're a non-degree student at Wisconsin, that means you're probably going to be a degree-seeking student at your home university. We have a lot of international students every year. We have over 6,000 right now from over 130 countries. And every single state of the United States has students at our university. You can tell that we have a huge number of faculty and staff, as well as alumni all around the world. In fact, we have an official Wisconsin alumni chapter in Mumbai. So let me tell you a little bit about this program called Visiting International Student Program. And this is something to give some thought to when you're looking at different programs. And that is, with our program, you're an official student, you get an official ID, student ID, a campus ID. You can participate in organizations and all the programs as every other degree-seeking student is able to participate in. You have the same access to the libraries, to the computer labs, to the courses available. And once again, with us, you receive an official transcript like every other degree-seeking student at the university. So I talked about admission requirements in general a little bit earlier. Let me tell you what they are for us. First, you need to have at least 1 semester of university experience. So second semester undergraduates are eligible. From there, we look for English requirements. If If you've done the TOEFL, it's an 80. If it's IELTS, a 6.5. If you're interested in coming to Wisconsin, but perhaps your English isn't at that level and you would like an opportunity to improve your reading, writing, speaking skills, we do have English as a second language program. And for students, for undergraduate students, we look for a GPA, a grade point average of 3.0 on a 4-point scale. And this is a good time for me to mention, because I haven't done so yet, and that is our program is open to all levels of students. So undergraduate, graduate, and even dissertator level PhD students. Within our program, as I said, students have access to all the opportunities that the university provides to all students, but myself and our staff, we do additional programming and advising just for our visiting international student program students. So you'll see we do trips to baseball games, American football games, concerts, NBA basketball. We're regularly doing things to engage with our students. And before we move to showing you a short video, or 2 short videos, I do want to point out, even though this isn't for short-term university level students, I want you to be aware of opportunity if you have a younger brother or sister or family member that's between the ages of 15 and 17. Working with EducationUSA, we are providing what we're calling EducationUSA Academy this summer, the first one that we're hosting. We're very happy about this opportunity. We're going to be providing English courses. This is open to native or non-native English speakers that are outside of the US. And as you see here, it's about a 3-week program from July 1st to July 19th. We do have an early bird discount available, so get in touch with us as soon as you can, because that will be ending soon. But I want to make sure that you can share this information with anyone that you might know that's eligible. So we're looking very much forward to hosting this year. So let me share with you just a quote from one of our students. They said, "Get ready to have one of the most amazing experiences of your life at one of the best universities in the world, and on Wisconsin," which is our saying. So that concludes the formal part of my presentation. I'm going to pause for a moment as we prepare the video, and then afterwards I'll come back and I'll be happy to take any questions from people online or here in the audience. Thanks.
What makes the University of Wisconsin-Madison one of the world's best? We have a beautiful campus in a capital city.
You should see this, it's awesome.
Yes.
An environment infused with research.
So you can help us open our minds.
With diverse learning communities. A nurturing home for the arts.
Do that.
That's good, that's good.
Not to mention successful athletic teams.
They're going to the Final Four!
A spectacular place to earn a well-rounded world-class education.
There, whole court.
Yeah.
One court. It's amazing.
Your generous support has allowed this university to grow, to be all of these things. Today, the University of Wisconsin-Madison is building on our successes. With a broad-minded vision for the future, we thrive today by doing our part for all. The progress made here goes beyond the bricks and mortar. It spreads to the state, to the nation, the entire world. Proud of our past, strong in the present, prepared for the future. The University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Hi, I'm Nicola and I did my BTech in CSC in SRM from 2010 to 2014, and during the fall semester of 2012 I did my semester abroad in the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and till date I always describe it as one of the most defining experiences of my life, both academically and otherwise. I have really good memories there, whether it's eating cheese curds on State Street, going to my first football game, or staying late in college to finish assignments. It was a really good experience, and academically it was very inspiring to be around the kind of research that comes out of Wisconsin-Madison, and also to learn from such amazing professors and be around such amazing students. It was like a great experience. And in particular, I'd like to point out that Anna and everyone else in this team helped make our transition really smooth. For me personally, at 19, it was the first time I was away from home, so it was a daunting experience at first, but Anna helped us feel at home completely. And at the end of the 4 months, I felt really, really sad to leave. I hope to visit there again someday. And yeah, it's been a great experience.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Matt. We'll open it up for questions now. First, we'll go to the audience in-house. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them. And if you can just repeat the question while you're answering.
Thank you. Sure.
Any questions?
So I know with short-term programming, that can mean many different things. And so feel free to ask me any question that you have. One thing I'll certainly say is every short-term program that I'm aware of is different. So that's why asking some of the questions that I alluded to in the PowerPoint is a good starting point when you're doing your research and having some conversations with whatever program coordinator you're working with, so that you have as much information as possible when making this decision, because again, there's just so many different options. Everyone is a little bit different. So with that said, what questions can I help you with? What is on your mind?
Yes, my daughter, she is a homeschooler and a US citizen, but it's not for, she wouldn't fall under this category of international student program, right? If she is a US citizen.
Is your question related to the short-term study program?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what is your question?
She is a US citizen, so she wouldn't fall under this program, if I consider a University of Wisconsin.
How long has she been living in India?
You live back and forth.
You go back and forth. Okay, so their question, I think, is if the student is an American citizen but living in India currently, and if she wants to do a short-term study program at your university, is that something that's possible? Is she in high school now?
She's homeschool.
She's a homeschool student. Okay.
Homeschool here?
There, registered there.
Over there. So the question is, a specific question for a student that's homeschooled is, in the United States currently, and you said at the high school level?
Yes.
And are you referring to the Education USA program, Academy?
Right.
Then are they eligible for Education USA? So for that, I'm going to turn it over to one of our Education USA experts.
Yes. So this is about a student who's currently homeschooling, but registered for her homeschool in Massachusetts in USA. So the parent would like to know whether is she eligible to apply for your short-term programs that you are describing.
I mean, more specifically, she's not looking for a graduate program. I mean, she's not looking for a four-year degree program. She's already running a company on the
short-term program.
Yeah, I mean, she's not looking for any college education.
Right.
She's only looking for a short-term experience of the college.
So,
go ahead. It's not the academy. They want to know if she's eligible for the VISP program.
There, anything.
Yeah.
I mean, see, what she needs is an experience of a university, but she's not ready to give 4 years for that.
Okay.
She's very busy in doing other things. You know, she will feel like 4 years is too much for the college.
Okay.
So what I would say is, let's have a conversation afterwards, because it gets a little bit complicated with what options are available. But I think we'll be able to have something that maybe will meet your needs, that would be appealing to you and your daughter's interest. But yeah, it gets very specific. So let's have a further conversation later if that's okay. But thank you. Yeah. Yes.
What are the scopes, scholarships for these programs?
So a question about scholarships. Well, that can vary a lot depending on which program and which university you're looking at. At this moment, for the University of Wisconsin-Madison, we are full of excitement where sometimes the lights go off and I'm going to guess come back on. So we are working with some universities here to provide a scholarship opportunity. So I would say talk with your current university's international office to see if there are some opportunities with them. And if not, have them reach out to us, and we would be interested in trying to see if we can form a partnership for those types of things.
Seconding that question, I have a question. So if a student wants to apply for the VISP program, do they have to apply through their own college, or can they independently just fill an application on your website for joining your VISP program? How does it work?
Great question. So the question is, if a student is interested in participating in the Visiting International Student Program, do they need to go through their home university, or can they apply directly to the University of Wisconsin VISP program? And for that, I would say, I would always recommend first check with your international office, make sure that everything is okay, but the short answer is students can apply directly to our program. We do not require that you or students here go through their home university. It can be directly through us. We just want to make sure that all the bases are covered, as we would say, both at your home university and with us. So, short answer is yes, you can apply directly to us. We just want to make sure everything will be worked out okay academically with your home university. Down?
I have a question. Suppose, can I do a program, I mean the short-term program, without earning a credit?
Great question. So, can someone participate in our short-term program without receiving credit? And I would say, due to visa regulations, we will provide, typically students come on an F1 visa, sometimes a J1, but those policies require people to be enrolled as a full-time student. And if you're curious to know what does that mean to be full-time, that would mean as an undergraduate student 12 credits. You can take more than 12 credits with our program, and it won't cost more, but a minimum of 12 if you're at the master's level or post-bachelor's, 8 credits. And for any dissertator, PhD level students out there, it could be as few as 3. But undergraduate students do have to be enrolled in 12 credits for visa purposes.
But for the VISP, what if they choose to enroll but are not asking for credits? Is that okay? If they apply directly to your university for the VISP and they indicate that they're not so much worried about the credits that they're going to earn from this short-term program, but it's just the experience of the program that they want to be part of. Right. Is that possible?
In order to provide a visa, a student visa, you have to be enrolled full-time. Yeah. So these are some great questions. Please, who has others?
When you mentioned
yes, go ahead.
You said no additional cost for any extra credits.
That's a very good question. So the question is, a moment ago I said if a student wants to take additional credits, there's no additional cost. That is for, what I would say is between 12 and 18 credits. It's a flat rate. So if it's an undergraduate student, 12 to 18 credits, it's all the same. If you're a master's level graduate student, you only have to be enrolled in 8 credits, but if you want to take more, it will cost more from 8 to 12, but if you go above 12, flat rate. So 12 to 18 credits, same cost, is the simple answer to that. Thank you.
If a student has completed his bachelor's degree in India and is a working professional now and wants to come for a short-term program, is that possible?
If a working professional is interested in participating in a program like this, short-term study program, can they still participate? The answer is yes. There's no certain age. You don't have to currently be enrolled at a university. As long as that individual is still willing to enroll in coursework while at Wisconsin, absolutely.
What would be the visa? The visa that they would have to complete?
The visa for this particular situation, it would still probably be a F1 visa, as long as they're enrolled. I mean, they would have to be enrolled as a full-time student, an F1 visa.
So on the VISP, do students get opportunity to be part of a research work or a research team? Is that possible?
Now that's a very common question. Research. Will a student in our program have the opportunity to do some research? And the short answer is yes, they have that opportunity. The longer answer is it is going to be the responsibility of the student to seek out those opportunities. We are not going to just set up every student with a research opportunity. What we tell students is absolutely, our students do research sometimes if they choose to while they participate in our program, but please reach out to the department and the faculty members that are doing research in the area that you are interested in. Contact them, tell them about yourself, your background, your interests, and then see if you can work something out with that faculty member. So again, short answer is yes, but it will take a little bit of work on your end to try to establish that relationship or partnership with a faculty member.
So another question is, in what majors can you do the short-term study program? Is it restricted to particular majors or a particular department, or how does it work?
That's a question I love. Is this program restricted to certain majors or departments? We accept students that are in any area, and students can take classes in just about every area as well. So not only that, we encourage students to take coursework in more than one area. So if you want to come and do a computer science class, a math class, an art class, and a dance class, that's perfectly okay. So you are not regulated to just one department in our program.
And how much does it cost to do the short-term, say if you come for a summer semester, if you come to do an international short-term study program, how much would it cost the student?
Sure, so the cost, how much? Well, let's start with what a full semester, let's say fall or spring, which is one of our most popular options, would be. Tuition and fees for an undergraduate level student is going to come out to a little bit over $19,000 US. Now, in addition to that, there'll be some expenses for living expenses as well, and that will vary depending on campus, off campus, and how much you decide to spend for that. Now, if you're looking to come for just a summer, earlier I mentioned summer oftentimes is the least expensive, also because it's the shortest and you can take fewer courses or fewer credits. So if for a fall or spring you need 12 credits, for summer you could be coming for as few as 3 credits. So the cost would be approximately 1/4 of that for a summer experience. All that information, I'll just say, by the way, is available on the website. So just look up cost of attendance under the Visiting International Student Program, and we have that available. I will mention that if you are at the graduate level or higher, the costs oftentimes are lower. And the reason for that is because undergraduate student do not have to be enrolled in 12 credits. So because you can enroll in fewer credits, that will reduce the cost.
I have a question. Studying in a VISP program, does it improve my chances of getting into Wisconsin for master's or a bachelor's or PhD?
Question is, will participating in this program improve one's opportunity to be admitted to the university as a degree-seeking student? And what I think the undergraduate admissions office would say is, we are not going to take that experience as a major factor. They will probably weigh that similarly to how they would the rest of your academic background and your grades at your home university. I might say if a student comes and does well, it probably will look favorably, where they say, oh, well, getting a 4.0 at University of Wisconsin-Madison holds a little bit more weight because you're taking the same courses as our students are, but at the same time, they have to take everything into consideration. And if you come and participate in this program and don't do well, that probably will hurt your chances significantly. For that, I would say probably talk to, if you're an undergraduate student thinking about Wisconsin as for grad school, we do have students that participate in our program and then continue with grad school, but there's no guaranteed pathway. And I would say talk to the graduate coordinator at the University of Wisconsin about what your plan is, what your thinking is, and hear what they have to say about that. Because every department has their own admission standards and can give you more specific information for that.
We have another question online which is not linked to the VISP program, but it's a generic question. Somebody who wants to do a PhD in forest genetics, and the student wants to know what are the opportunities available at the University of Wisconsin-Madison in forestry science.
Oh, that's a fantastic question. Well, first let me begin by saying I'm a generalist advisor. I am not an advisor in any specific department, especially academic departments. So with that said, I will say we have a strong history at the university when it comes to the environment. We have something called the Nelson Institute for Environmental Studies. I would direct that student to contact the department at Wisconsin that they're interested in and just work directly with one of the advisors there, and they'll be able to tell you everything you want to know. And if you want to look up the professors, the faculty, the research that they're working on, it should either be online or by contacting the department directly. And I always share this with our students. If you ever make an effort to get information that you're looking to acquire and you run into a roadblock or you're not getting the answer you're looking for, contact me and I'll tell this student the same thing. If you attempt to reach out to the department and you don't get the information you're looking for, let me know and I'll be happy to help.
Remind them which email, that's the email ID.
And with that, I'm being reminded to point out, you're seeing the email and website here on this slide, visp.wisc.edu, so visp.wisc.edu.
Any other questions from the in-house audience? If you want to have any questions? Yes, please.
Bonus points for questions, yes.
So I have no interest in VISP.
Okay.
I just want to know how to get into the MS programs in Wisconsin-Madison.
You want to know how to get into which?
Master's program.
Oh, so the question is how to get into a master's degree program.
Yes.
And that's a fantastic question. We have a huge number of students enrolled in our master's programs, and there's a wide range of options. There's over 100 different programs. At the University of Wisconsin, we have a term we use, and I'm going to share it with you now. It's called decentralized. What that means is, of the 100 different majors, there's probably about 100 different standards and requirements for those majors. And do you want to take a guess if I have memorized all of them yet? The answer is no. So here's what I can share with you. The University of Wisconsin, having a very strong reputation, has high standards for graduate students. It's a wonderful opportunity, and I think they prepare students very, very well. But in terms of what the requirements are, it's too vast to be able to tell you. There isn't one certain answer because it depends on the department. They make those determinations in terms of scores for GRE, what your academic background is. But every department will have someone called a graduate coordinator, or someone that fulfills a role of helping prospective graduate students with information about how to apply. Reach out to them. Just do a search on the internet. Find out who that is in the department that interests you, and they'll tell you everything you want to know. And again, I'll finish by saying, if you try and don't get the information you're looking for, please send me an email and I'll help you out. Sure.
You can look at the generic graduate admissions page and the international students admissions page and the department page. So those are 3 pages on the university's website. If you look, you'll be able to get all the information that you need. Yes, please, you have a question?
Yes, generic question. It's like generally the US generally expects 16 years of education for a graduate study. I am a BSc graduate. I'm currently pursuing my BSc degree. I have nearly 15 years of education right now. Will it affect my processing for my
master's degree? For a master's degree. So they've done 15 years of school come college education. So on the undergraduate degree in pure sciences, for example, what's your subject to study?
Right now, BSc Computer Science.
Computer Science, okay. So should have done 12 years of schooling plus 3 years of undergraduate degree in India. So only the engineering program is 4 years in India. All other subjects, students do only a 3-year bachelor's degree in India. So she wants to know whether that will impact her opportunity to apply for a master's degree.
Here's what I can share with you. I know that at the University of Wisconsin, we have over 800 students from India in degree programs. The majority of those 800 are in master's or graduate level programs. What the policy is and how they determine the admission requirements, I don't know the details of, but I know it happens. I know it's been done. So I would say go to the graduate school webpage and they will have a very quick and easy answer for you that just because I don't work in that department, I don't know. But I know it works, and I know there's a way.
Just to answer your question broadly, most US universities may say no to a 15-year program if you've completed only 15 years, but some will say yes, we accept. So you have a mix of both. You have universities that will accept, universities that will clearly tell you on their website that they don't accept if you only have 15 years of education. But there are also another set of universities who will say that if you are willing to get your mark sheets or your credentials evaluated by a credential evaluation agency recommended by the US university, for example, there are organizations like WES or ECE and such organizations, you will have to send your mark sheets to them and they will do a credential evaluation to check equivalency in terms of number of credits you complete in your 3-year bachelor's degree program vis-a-vis what a 4-year bachelor's degree student in the US would do. So if they find that equivalency matches, they might then recommend to the university that you may be offered an admission. So that depends again on the university that you're applying to. It will vary from university to university. It may also vary from department to department in the same university. So it's always best to check the department page, the graduate admissions page, and as I said, if you have questions, send an email to the graduate admissions office and they'll be able to answer that question in detail. Yes.
What is the difference between the spring intake and the fall intake in terms of students who are willing to take master's degree program? I mean, like, will students will be facing any drawbacks of choosing spring intake over fall intake?
So if I understand your question correctly, you're saying if a master's level student wants to come for the short-term program?
Full-time degree.
As a degree in terms of starting in fall or spring?
Yeah. Is there a difference between starting in fall semester or in the spring intake?
It depends on the program. I know that there are many graduate level programs that will only start in the fall. There's others where there's some flexibility. So as my understanding is it can vary a lot depending on your program, the department, and the university, and maybe you have some additional information to share.
See, academically there shouldn't be any difference really from the larger perspective, but what you need to check is whether financial aid is also offered in the spring semester. A lot of universities give out financial aid in the fall semester, which is the beginning of the academic year. So that might be the only difference, really key difference between applying for a spring intake or applying for a fall intake. So check with the department to which you're applying at each university to find out if it will impact your opportunities for applying for financial aid. Other than that, it shouldn't be.
Will there be any difference in the internship opportunities, like which people prefer to do during the summertime?
See, you want to answer?
See, what happens is usually the time you go for your internship, you would have already finished 2 semesters of your program. So you have a solid experience in your field of study and academically. And then you have enough time to search for such internship opportunities. But when you go for spring program, you would have just completed the first semester, which is again going to be a short semester by 3.5 months probably. And within that short time, to settle and apply for an internship would be very hard. And also for the organization to assess your capability and other things, you will not have a very strong application. So for that,
because you only complete one academic semester, and if it wasn't the best of your performance, that you're not going to be able to showcase the fact that you really are a good student. And if you were to do that, if you were to join in the fall, it gives you 2 semesters to prove your academic credentials to any organization to whom you're applying for an internship. Okay. So that might be the only difference.
And also your program should be available.
Also,
that's the primary.
Yes, the course that you're applying to, they must make it available as a spring intake opportunity. That's the other. Any other questions? Yes, please.
I'm doing my master's now, so can I do my 3rd semester in this university?
Okay, so she's currently doing her master's in Chennai, and she wants to know whether she can do her 3rd semester as a BISP student at your university. And which university are you in here? Are you doing an engineering program? What do you mean?
I'm a literature student.
You're a literature student, okay. And you're in under Madras University.
No, I'm doing my college in residency.
Residency is Madras University. Yeah. Okay.
So the question is, we have a master's level student asking, could they come participate in the short-term program at Wisconsin for their 3rd semester? And as far as we're concerned, we would be very happy to have you. So absolutely, there's no reason we wouldn't accept you. We would be more than happy. Again, as I would say, please work with your department at your university, but we would welcome you with open arms.
What you need to know is if you finish that semester there and come back, will the credits that you received there, will they be accepted by Madras University or not? Because then otherwise they may ask you to repeat that semester again when you come back. So you need to clarify with your home institution, that's the Presidency College and the Madras University, if they can work it into their your curriculum as such. If that's possible, it might be easier. Otherwise, you can go for 1 semester perhaps over the summer and come back and resume your 3rd semester here. That's the other thing that you can say.
So yeah, absolutely. If there's any conflict with courses for a full semester, summer is definitely an option if you want to get a taste of this experience and without it perhaps interfering with your home university's academic schedule.
Any final questions?
I still have bonus points.
Yes.
Okay.
So my brother finished in 2002, I think graduate event, so he was discontinued on that time. Now he can able to go for this course, BISP.
He was at which university? In the US? He was studying in the US?
No, in Chennai only, Anna University.
Okay, so he was doing his master's degree? And
no, not master, undergraduate.
He did his, okay, so he discontinued his undergraduate degree.
Yes.
And after that, did he go back to complete the degree?
No, he started a own business.
Okay.
So it's possible for him to join this.
Okay, that we'll have to ask.
So there is a huge gap.
Yes. So this gentleman's brother joined an undergraduate study program in the year 2002, and he discontinued that program.
Yeah.
And he's gone off into running his own business. So, but he'd like to go for a short-term program. Is that possible? He'd like to know.
So for a student that has been out of school, out of the university for a period of time, even if it's several years, they could still participate in this program. So there is no rule that says you need to be currently enrolled or within the past 2 years or the past 5 years.
So you said you need a grade point average of 3 out of 4 GPA. So would you rather have the grade mark sheets for first year or second year at least? How many years did he complete?
Second year only.
He completed his second year and then dropped out. So then would you still accept those mark sheets for the period of study that he studied at the home university?
Nearly 16 years of gap.
Yeah. So even with 16 years of gap from their college experience, if we still would accept the student. And let's say they left the university because of poor grades and they're looking to get back in, and maybe they don't meet that standard of 3.0, I would say please have them contact us and we can have a conversation, because we often work in our office with returning adult students who perhaps left the university for any number of reasons. Maybe their academic record isn't up to the current standard expected, and we understand there are certain circumstances that maybe came into play, and we understand that was it your brother or
Yes, my brother.
Your brother or whoever they might be is not the same person now as their academic shows they were 10 years ago. So we would just have a conversation, and the answer is it's definitely possible.
So conversation where I have to do
email? Please send them an email.
Not the phone call.
Well, I don't know. There should be a phone number. There should be a phone number on that pamphlet they've given you. Otherwise, I would suggest you send them an email first, and then if they can give you a phone number, you can talk to them.
Sure.
Because he's come from the US, so it's better perhaps that you first email him, and then if you wish to speak to him, then you can ask for his phone.
Sure.
So the question is how to contact us, phone or email.
Yes.
The short answer is either is fine, but with the time difference and calling costs, if that's an issue, but we would be happy to do whatever is most convenient for you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Right. Any final questions before we close the session for the day? That's it? So thank you so much, Matt, for joining us today and sharing with us information about short-term study programs in the US in general, and also specifically about programs offered at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I'm sure both our in-house audience and the online audience were able to get a greater clarity on how to apply for these short-term study programs. As Matt mentioned, we'd request students, if you have any specific questions about the short-term study program, then please do send an email to Matt, and I'm sure he'll respond to you and to guide you on how to apply for the short-term study program. So thank you once again, and thank you to our audience. Make sure to follow us on the Education USA India YouTube page, the Education USA India Facebook page, and you may also look up our monthly calendar of events on the US India Educational Foundation or the USIEF website for upcoming programs that we'll be hosting here at the American Center in Chennai. Thank you so much for joining us.